This was the scene across Israel Thursday morning as at 10 a.m. sharp, a siren rang out for 2 minutes in memory of the over 6 million Jews slaughtered by the Nazis in World War II. At bus stops and at restaurants, in the street and in homes, Israelis stood stoically and silently while the siren sounded. And thus began Israeli Holocaust Memorial Day. Then following the siren, the rest of Thursday is marked by annual events and ceremonies like the wreath laying at Yad Vashem's Holocaust Memorial Center and the Knesset's annual recitation of victims' names. Though Wednesday night, to begin the 24 hours of remembrance, Israeli and world dignitaries, leaders, and officials came together for the state ceremony in Jerusalem, where newly elected Prime Minister Netanyahu opened with messages of how we got to where we are, the state of world anti-Semitism today, and where we're headed as a Jewish nation. Additionally, all around the rest of the country, citizens gathered to listen to survivors' stories, to share stories from their own families, and to recite the mourner's prayer or Kaddish. Some 300 Israelis even marched across Tel Aviv in their own March for the Living. But in the wake of the Poe shooting, the Pittsburgh shooting 6 months ago, and the recent New York Times cartoon, among others, Netanyahu had some harsh words to share, adding that if it were legitimate criticisms of Israel, he wouldn't even be mentioning it.
הימין הקיצוני, השמאל הקיצוני והאסלאם הקיצוני מסכימים רק על דבר אחד, על שנאת היהודים.
Then, after Netanyahu, President Rivlin, Chief Rabbis Lau and Yosef, and many others stepped up to the podium to read prayers and share powerful words. Also, 6 Israeli Holocaust survivors again took turns lighting the torch for the victims long gone but not forgotten. And messages like these are all the more necessary these days, as anti-Semitism is globally on the rise and seemingly without end. In fact, Rivlin stressed that while we're not living in the 1930s or facing another Holocaust today, we can't ignore the new, old anti-Semitism that is again rearing its head. For example, Rivlin mentioned how the recent reality is that in Europe today, as in many parts of the world, perceptions of superiority, nationalistic purity, xenophobia, blatant and murky anti-Semitism from the left and from the right is hovering. Thankfully, though, as Israel's leaders pointed out, the Jewish nation worldwide is strong today, and far from stateless as they were at the time of the Holocaust. And that's why the State of Israel must exist, to give credence to the words, never again.